You know, really cold weather sends most folks scurrying for the fireplace, for the warmth of the den, for football on television, but to those of us who love to hunt and fish, it sends us to the field and to the lake to do what we love best. Coming up on this week's show, we're going to talk about a fish that loves to bite fishing lures in the cold weather. Fox Sports Outdoors is coming up next.
It's time now for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the South region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors South.
Winter weather came early and hit hard across the south and southwest regions this season. It's not even winter yet, but it really does feel like it. Let me show you what it's done. This park behind me is normally full of kids playing and dogs running, campers, people grilling on those barbecue grills, sitting around those picnic tables, campfires everywhere, and as you can see behind me, it is a completely deserted scene. The early winter weather this season has done one really nice thing for you and me, people that love to fish. It's left all that water out there and all those fish just for you and just for me. And it's to that end on this week's show that we're going to go fishing for a species of fish that bite better in cold than they do in the heat. It's the smallmouth bass, and they're located in lakes across many parts of our south and southwest regions. To that end, we've come to just one of those lakes. It's in east central Oklahoma. It's called Lake Eufaula. It's a very unique lake, but it's got a great population of smallmouth bass. On this week's episode, we'll go out there, show you a few tips and techniques how you can catch some of those, not only here, but in any lake across the region that has smallmouth bass. And while we're out there, we're taking you around your local region for your favorite fishing reports from your local lakes, rivers, and bays from our expert team of insider reporters. Got the cold weather gear ready to go. We're going to get the Nitro Z8 launched right out there to Lake Eufaula and tell you a lot about it. Right now, though, we're going to get you back to the FSN studios for your weekend planning.
The Salooner Tables are anticipating a fantastic opportunity for anglers this weekend. Excellent game fish activity is predicted to begin on Saturday morning at 9:50, and Sunday is projected to have the best conditions of the month, with peak times starting at 10:43 a.m. Look for sunrise to take place on Saturday at 7:16 in the morning, with sunset happening at 5:21 p.m. And evening skies should be bright, with a full moon on Saturday. We'll be right back with all of the current fishing reports from around the area. And I'll return with two-time Bassmaster Angler of the Year, Aaron Martin, for this week's Ask the Pro.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Exide AGM Marine Batteries. Starts like new, stays like new longer. By Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland Lures. With our baits, a good day of fishing is in the bag. By Motor Guide, trolling motors engineered for anglers. And by Nitro Performance Fishing Boats. Welcome to the big leagues.
Oh, that's a fish. Golly. That's a smallie. Wow. Nice smallie right there. Oh, don't you get off. Oh, he pulled off right in the boat. All right. There's what we came to Lake Eufaula for. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Smallmouth bass fishing on a really cold, dreary, blustery, windy, nasty kind of a day, but that's what we came to do right there. That's a good chunky smallmouth bass. They love this cold, I tell you. All right, well, let me explain to you about Lake Eufaula. If you've never been here, it's really like three different lakes. It's got two big arms that feed all the way back up to Highway 69. So if you've driven by this lake several times, that's probably the part of the lake you've seen between Tulsa and McAllister, Oklahoma. You cross over several of those arms, and you've looked over and said, wow, that's a muddy lake. It is just red rolling mud a lot of the year all through those two arms. But they neck down into a little chute or a little narrows area. And then it opens back up into another big wide part of the lake, and that's where we are. And it's gin clear here. So it's really very ultra murky or all the way to muddy, the two main arms, but then the lower end is crystal clear. And down here, the cover goes from flat sand and mud up there to rock. This is the kind of rock that smallmouths love. All right, let's check right now on your local reports from Tennessee and Kentucky with Crispin Powell.
Hey guys, this week's fishing report is brought to you by Benton County, Tennessee. Whether you're looking for a family adventure geared around parks, nature, and just outdoor activities, or if you're a hardcore sportsman looking for a wonderful place to fish or hunt, Benton County, Tennessee has everything you could ever ask for. Come check us out at Benton County, Tennessee. Hey guys, the fishing in Tennessee and Kentucky right now is actually really good. The fish aren't in a true winter pattern yet throughout most of the region. Percy Priest Lake, for instance, there is a really good wake bait bite going on right now. I heard of some reports of some big bass being caught there. Old Hickory's really good right now. People are fishing these channel swings or transition areas where the fish are near deep water, but they're shallow. The most impressive bite right now is crappie. The crappie are on fire. Any of the tributaries of the Tennessee River, the impoundments rather, guys are catching them on plastic baits. The water's been drawn down on all the lakes that it's drawn down, so it's made a lot of shallow cover really accessible. I will tell you this though, the bass bite is really good on Pickwick, smallmouth specifically. Another place that you should look for late fall, early winter, when you're getting ready, if you're wanting to take a fishing trip of a lifetime, look at Dale Hollow, which is on the Tennessee and Kentucky line. Incredible fishery, world record smallmouth is from there, and it is a lot of fun, and they're real easy to catch this time of year. Any point, channel swing bank, anything like that, there's so many fish there, they just gang up on it. Guys, the fishing is wonderful right now. The weather's gorgeous. The waterfowl migration is in full swing. It's just a wonderful time to be here. So just get here, enjoy yourself. We'd love to see you on the water in Tennessee and Kentucky. God bless.
Got him. Not big. Oh, it's a crappie. Goodness, look at the size of that crappie. Holy mackerel. Man. All right, well, there is a bonus. Anytime you're fishing with a rally grub, you can catch a walleye, you can catch a crappie, you can catch a white bass, you can catch a striper, you can catch a largemouth, a smallmouth, even a catfish. They all bite it. Look at the size of that dude right there. That one's going in the live well, and who knows, might catch a couple of more before the day's out. Stay with us. We'll be back to beautiful Lake Eufaula, east central Oklahoma. Talk some more about smallmouth bass fishing right after this. Don't go anywhere. Look at that. Got him. Way out there deep. Smallie. Nice little smallie. All right. There's one more for you. Glad to have you along, everybody, on Lake Eufaula in the east central part of Oklahoma. I had a chance to pre-fish a little bit for about a half a day yesterday. Came out here and got a chance to look around. I've been on Eufaula before, but always in the upper arms, never big down here in the big main part of the lake where all these smallies live. So this has been a real treat for me. Let's talk a little bit about the types of cover that you catch smallmouth out of. If you haven't fished for smallmouth very much, it's always going to be a gravel, sand, or rock type of a deal. They don't much go for wood cover. They don't go for mud bottoms. They typically love these kind of banks right here. This right here falls off into, I'm in 60 feet of water right now. Now I'm not throwing in that depth of water. You want to be off some kind of a drop off, a point, a ledge, a shelf, big boulder, rocks, and you always want to be around fairly deep water. Now I'll tell you this, these fish right now, most of the bites that I've had and the few that I caught yesterday were in 16 to 20 feet of water. But once it really starts getting cold, smallmouths can go really, really deep. I mean, you can catch them down 40 feet deep sometimes. Let's go to Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. First, your freshwater report with Jimmy Jacobs, followed by your saltwater report with Bob McNally.
This week's Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi freshwater fishing action is brought to you by JimmyJacobsOutdoors.com, your source for southern outdoor adventure information. Visit our online bookstore for guidebooks on trout fishing, saltwater fishing, and hiking in the region. Now, December's arrived, and with it comes the winter weather. Regardless of where you're fishing in the southeast, you need to bundle up. You also need to reassess your fishing tactics. In Mississippi, on the Pearl River near Jackson, that means understanding what the spotted bass are up to. These fish form large schools, and these are usually found on the shallow sandbars, but you need deeper water close by. You want to be throwing minnow-shaped crankbaits or soft plastic lures, and keep your lures small. Over in Georgia, human activity on 15,300 acre Lake Sinclair on the Oconee River near the town of Milledgeville is keeping the largemouths active. This old reservoir was built in 1954, but a more modern facility is what keeps the largemouths biting through the winter. Plant Harley Branch is a power station located on Beaver Dam Creek arm of the lake, and the warm water that it's releasing into the lake is probably 10 degrees warmer than what's found elsewhere. This keeps the bass biting all the way down to the mouth of the creek at the junction of the Little and Oconee rivers. Lures to be using are jig and pigs around docks, or target those 20-foot deep brush piles with jigging spoons. In Alabama, Neely Henry Lake on the Coosa River just downstream of Gadsden is a place to go for some big blue catfish right now. Shad schools are running up and down the old river channel in deep water, and those catfish will be hanging just below them and feeding too.
This part of the program is brought to you by Egret Baits, makers of the new Voodoo Mullet. The Voodoo Mullet has a serrated body wiggling action that fish just can't resist, and it comes in 2 sizes to match the hatch wherever you're fishing. So try a Voodoo Mullet and let the fish do the rest. Well, coastal trout fishing has really caught fire over Mississippi and Alabama. The deeper rivers that are feeding the sounds, like the Pearl River near Bay St. Louis, the Biloxi River in Biloxi, and also the Chuticabus River that comes off the Biloxi River, all of these have been good because they have deep water and there's plenty of drop-off areas where anglers can find concentrations of trout and also plenty of bait fish. A lot of anglers are going out early in the morning and cast netting small live menhaden or pogies, and they're using those as live baits. They're staggering them from the surface down to the bottom. Once you hit a couple of fish, stay in that general area, and usually you can catch a limit pretty quickly. There's also some slot redfish that are available, and that's a nice bonus catch to that trout limit. Captain Sonny Schindler over in Bay St. Louis says that the site fishing for red drum slot fish is absolutely on fire. He says the best it's been all year, and he also is getting into some good trout fishing, which he says will get better for bigger fish as the water gets colder. Over on the Georgia coast, trout fishing also has been good. Most of the anglers are trolling, or they're fishing jigs and slow swimming plugs. There are some bull redfish still on the coast. These are fish that are in the surf, and you got to pick your days. You want to be able to pick a day when there's not a lot of surf action, not too strong a current, so you can keep your baits on the bottom, and that's where those redfish will pick them up. Well, that's it for the coastal south. Remember, get on the water with your first chance, and when you do, please take a youngster with you when you go.
I mentioned that I came about a half a day early yesterday and got to fish and do a little bit of scouting before the show. Here I had my little GoPro camera with me and stuck it on one of the windshields. Totally different day, as you can see. Bright sunlight. The fish were out in fairly deep water, catching them the same kind of way, catching them on that little rally grub. Also caught several fish on a drop shot rig. Caught a couple of nice smallmouths, including one that was pushing about 3 pounds or so yesterday. We never can show you all the fish we catch in the short window of time we have here. Caught a lot of smallmouths, a few largemouths, and even a couple of spotted bass. We'll be right back for more from Lake Eufaula, Oklahoma, right after this.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. By Mercury Marine, celebrating 75 years of marine excellence. By Stren Fishing Lines, the standard of dependability. And by Tracker Boats. It's more than just a boat, it's a tracker.
Got him. Wow, he's fighting hard. What a smallie, man. Hold on, baby. Hold on, baby. Got him. Look at that toad. Oh, it's a giant smallie. My goodness. Look at that big sucker there. Hitting my little rally grub. All right, I changed colors and I'll tell you about that a little later. But look at this. I have caught myself a whopper of a smallmouth bass. Son, that's a 5.5, 6 pound smallie right there. One of the bigger ones I've ever caught. That's awful cool. We're releasing all our smallmouth bass, so they stay in the lake. This is a great fishery right here. And away he goes. I've established that the fish today are in anywhere from 18 to 22 feet of water, something like that. So what I do is I don't cast straight in at the shoreline. I look at my depth until I pull back and I find that right depth, which is around 20 feet or so. And once I get in that, then what I do is I cast downwind and parallel with the shore. So you can see I'm casting straight in front of the boat, and I let that grub go all the way to the bottom, but I don't let it stay on the bottom. All these rocks, it'll get snagged down there. So as soon as it ticks the bottom, then I raise that rod tip high, and I use mostly the reel handle and a little bit of swimming motion with my rod tip to keep that grub off the bottom and keep it moving. Let's get you some more fishing and lake reports from your local area. Let's go to the Carolinas with Captain Inglis Glover.
Hey folks, Captain E here with your Carolinas report. This week brought to you by Marshall's Marine. Located in Lake City and Georgetown, South Carolina, we're your bass boat leader since 1969. For all your family-friendly fun and for nitro and bass tracker needs, visit www.marshallsmarine.com. Some of the best yellowfin and bluefin tuna fishing can be found just here in the Carolinas, as well as some of the best striper, crappie, and catfishing can be found during this time of the year. Don't let the cold temperatures scare you away. Get out in the freshwater side of things and target those stripers. Get ready to start pulling some bigger plugs, artificials, and getting them deep where those fish are schooled up on those shad and herring that are moving through those lakes and rivers where you fish. Also, the bass are starting to move into that wintertime pattern. Get out and target them with football jigs, get deep and work them near bait. The crappie are on those piles, and get out with live as well as artificial jigs and get ready to limit out very quick on top of those artificial areas that you have set up for your crappie. In the saltwater side of things, the redfish that we've been catching all fall are starting to get into that winter pattern. They're getting into those schools, back in the shallows. Get in there with an artificial or with shrimp or mullet, cut or live, and get ready to catch some of the best redfish of the year. It's not uncommon to have a 40 to 50 fish day in either North or South Carolina this time of the year in those shallow, flat areas at low tide. You can sight fish these fish, and it is an incredibly fun thing to get out and do. Also, on the offshore side of things, on the days that you can get out there, the wahoo are going to be all over any bait that you can find on the ledge out there. This has been your Carolinas report, brought to you by Marshall's Marine. Remember, fish smarter, not harder, and keep your chaos organized.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Costa Sunglasses. See what's out there. By Luz, setting a new standard in fishing performance. Feel the difference. By Strike King Lures, #1 in fishing. By Lowrance Electronics. Find, navigate, dominate.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Ask the Pro feature. This week's question is from John, who asks, what does a fish do after it's released? For the answer, we checked with two-time Bassmaster Angler of the Year, Aaron Martin.
I mean, I know some fish bite possibly the same day if you got a bait right in front of them or reaction at them, but I think most fish will kind of sit and shock for a little while, maybe a day or two. But definitely within a day or two, you'd start catching them again. But I know a lot of fish in those situations, that those fish that go through that, a lot of them will start to pack or get in small schools and swim.
Thank you, Aaron. If you have a question for one of the anglers, visit our website, follow the Ask the Pro link on the right side of the page, and let us know. Now let's see which viewer wins the Costa Catch of the Week.
This week's winner in the Costa Catch of the Week contest is Mike Jones of Madison, Mississippi. Mike is shown here with a 168-pound yellowfin tuna he caught out in the Gulf of Mexico off Biloxi, Mississippi. It took him 2.5 hours to land this big beast. If you'd like to have a chance to be our next winner, all you have to do to enter is go to our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com, and on the right-hand side of the front page is the Costa Catch of the Week area. Click in that, send us your big fish photo, and you could be our next winner. And if you want to see all of the Costa products, you can go to their website easily by going back to the front page of our website and clicking on the Costa logo. It's there that you can see all of the Costa frame and lens styles, including the fantastic ones that I was wearing on this week's episode. They're called Rockport in the camo pattern. Next up on the Academy Sports and Outdoors Right Stuff feature, it's the right gear to catch these nice smallmouth bass, not only here at Lake Eufaula, but at your favorite lake that has smallies as well. This is one of the first chances that I've had to fish the Lew's Laser SL Speed Stick rod. It's very identifiable by the bright red color, got a lot of great backbone, a beautiful soft tip, micro guides for long cast, everything you would want in a fantastic spinning rod, and it's matched perfectly with the Lew's Speed Spin 300 spinning reel. That's the one that I was using matched with it today. We had that spooled up with Stren Original 8-pound test clear monofilament line. Did a great job in this ultra clear water at Lake Eufaula. I want to show you a couple of the baits that you can catch these smallies on. First of all, we talked some about the Rally Grub. It's made by the Gene LaRue Lure Company. We rigged it on a 1/4 ounce regular lead head. Then we caught some on a drop shot rig. As you can see, the tungsten drop shot weight at the bottom, the drop shot hook about 18 inches above that. We rigged that with the Gene LaRue Tattletale plastic worm, a little soft finesse worm that's perfect for these smallies. And you can also catch them on a hardhead biffle bug rig, which is a little bit heavier, 3/8 to 1/2 ounce hardhead with a swivel hook on the back of that. Then you rig it with a regular sized Gene LaRue biffle bug. Just a few weeks ago, we celebrated Veterans Day here in this country, and the night before Veterans Day, I watched the movie Lone Survivor again for the second time. First time I saw it in the theater, second time I watched it at home. And I was impressed all over again and awestruck at the sacrifice and the service that these military veterans make, being taken away from all the comforts we have here in America and shipped off to some God-forsaken place to do a job that nobody else wants to do. And I, for one, will never ever forget the job that our military veterans do. So, from each of us here at Fox Sports Outdoors, to any one of you who have ever served in any branch of our military, thank you very much for the service and the freedoms that you've provided for me for the rest of our country. Hey, I hope you enjoyed our trip here to beautiful Lake Eufaula. As you can see, we've used up our daylight. It's about to get dark, but we've had a great time catching a lot of smallmouth bass, largemouth, spotted bass, and even some nice sized crappie. And you can use these same techniques to go and catch smallmouth bass at any lake near you that has a population of these hard-fighting game fish. Hey, don't forget that next week is the last episode of our 2014 season. For this year, we'll be taking a short break and coming back in 2015. You can do two things. Number one, be sure you're following us on Twitter. We'll be putting up lots of news and photos and videos to keep you informed during the off season and telling you about the launch of our 2015 season. Second thing you can do is go to our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com, click the sign up link, sign up to become a member. It's free, and you'll get our newsletter. During the off season, we'll be sending that newsletter out periodically to give you updates on the fishing, but also to tell you about the launch of our 2015 season. And don't forget, it's a little treat next week. It'll be our end of season episode with highlights from the entire year, lots of big fish, and even some funny bloopers along the way. Till then, I'm Barry Stokes saying be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.